right, welcome back to your deep dive. Today we're going to get into something that I know hits home for a lot of you guys, especially in the sub. It's about how being a man today, especially in the context of marriage, how that whole experience is playing out.
Yeah. I've been seeing a lot of buzz around this new book we're going to look at today. Seems like it's really trying to shake things up.
Yeah, some are calling it like a total red pill take on relationships and like the whole structure of society even.
Interesting. It sounds like they're going pretty deep, blending in like personal stories with analysis of social trends, even evolutionary psychology.
Exactly. And he doesn't waste any time getting right into it.
Yeah.
Right off the bat, he hits you with this idea of the blue pill delusion.
Yeah, I've heard that term thrown around, but what's his take on it?
He's basically saying a lot of men, especially the ones who are, already in committed relationships, they kind of buy into this fairy tale of how love and marriage are supposed to work.
Yeah.
Like there's this one perfect model.
I see. So he's challenging that assumption.
Big time. He uses this example of Jake. Seems like he has it all. Successful entrepreneur, happy relationship, but then Jake loses his job and boom, his girlfriend's out of there.
Oh, wow. So it's like even when things seem solid on the surface, there's this underlying vulnerability.
That's exactly what he's getting at. He even connects it to, I don't know if you've heard of this hypergamy.
Oh, yeah, that idea that women are kind of wired to seek out partners with higher status.
Exactly. And he's not saying it's a good thing or a bad thing, just that it's, a reality men need to understand, especially when you're talking about marriage, long-term stuff.
Makes sense. So it's like he's saying, wake up, guys. There's more to it than just being a nice guy.
Right. Like there are these deeper forces at play that we got to be aware of.
Totally. And then he goes on to talk about this feminist double bind. Have you gotten to that part yet?
Yeah, and that one really got me thinking. It's like he's saying men are stuck between a rock and a hard place. You be assertive, you're labeled toxic, but you show any vulnerability and suddenly you're weak. It's like, well, what are we supposed to do?
Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Exactly. And it's not just about personal relationships either. He goes even bigger picture, talking about how some systems are literally designed to work against men, especially within marriage.
Now, that's a bold claim.
It is,
Okay.
But he backs it up with some pretty heavy examples. He calls it the gynocratic matrix.
Never heard that one before.
It's basically his term for how things like divorce courts, child support, even stuff like Title IX, it's like they're set up to benefit women. And often, it's at the expense of men. Even when they've been good husbands, good fathers, the whole 9 yards.
Wow. So he's saying it's not just a few bad apples, it's like a systemic problem.
That's exactly what he's arguing. And he gives some pretty intense examples. Men losing their homes, their assets, and divorce settlements, even facing false accusations. Stuff I know a lot of the guys in this subreddit have experienced firsthand.
That's heavy stuff for sure. It definitely pushes some buttons. But, I'm curious to hear what he has to say about why this is happening.
He doesn't hold back there either. He connects these individual instances to this larger societal shift.
So it's not just isolated incidents, but a symptom of something bigger.
He's saying it's about how modern institutions are undervaluing traditional masculinity and the roles men have historically played within families. Like that whole provider role is being demonized.
Interesting. It sounds like he's challenging a lot of the conventional wisdom about gender roles.
And then he drops this term, the beta bucks trap, which is, it's kind of bleak, honestly.
What's that about?
He's saying men are basically valued only for their ability to provide, and then they become disposable once they can't anymore.
Oof, that's a tough one to swallow, especially when you think about how it plays out in real life.
Yeah, and he doesn't shy away from connecting it to things like male suicide rates, workplace fatalities. It's like a warning sign,
It definitely makes you think, like, what happens when men lose that sense of purpose, that value, especially in a world where traditional roles are changing so rapidly?
Yeah, and within marriage, too. Like, what does it even mean to be a husband and father in this new landscape? He seems to suggest that financial independence and entrepreneurship are like keys to reclaiming control.
So it's not just about understanding the system, but actively working to change it.
That seems to be his message. He's calling for a sort of red pill awakening, especially when it comes to marriage.
Interesting. A wake-up call for men to really examine their roles and expectations.
Exactly. And this isn't just about relationships, it's about the whole societal structure. And then he goes into another area that I think will hit home for a lot of guys here.
Yeah.
It's about the decline of male friendships, something we talk about a lot in this subreddit.
Yeah, that's a big one. What's his angle on that?
He calls it the digital desert. It's like this idea that men are connecting online but feeling increasingly isolated in the real world.
It's funny, right? We're here in this online community having this discussion, but he's pointing to the limitations of that.
Exactly. It's like we're surrounded by people but still feeling lonely. And he blames things like the demonization of male-only spaces. Think men's groups, fraternities, and the whole rise of digital communication for this decline.
So it's like technology is connecting us in some ways, but isolating us in others.
That's the paradox he's highlighting.
Mm-hmm.
And he's basically arguing that real-world connection is vital for men's mental health.
Especially in a world that's putting so much pressure on us to perform, to succeed, to be everything to everyone.
Yeah, it's like we need that brotherhood, that support system,
Yeah.
more than ever, I think. And he specifically points to the need for men to use technology to enhance those real-world friendships, not replace them entirely. It's about finding a balance.
That's a good point. It's not about throwing the baby out with the bathwater, but being mindful of how we're using technology.
Exactly.
Mm.
Okay, so we've gone from the blue pill delusion to the beta bucks trap, and now this digital desert. It's a pretty heavy picture he's painting. But he doesn't just leave us hanging, he actually offers some solutions.
Okay, now we're getting to the good stuff. What's his advice for navigating this modern landscape?
He suggests that men need to understand the forces at play, the societal structures, the evolutionary drives, even these unspoken agreements within marriage, and then take proactive steps.
So it's about awareness and action.
Exactly. He talks about the importance of financial independence, building strong male bonds, and even reclaiming some of those traditional aspects of masculinity that have come under fire lately.
That's interesting. So it's not about rejecting masculinity altogether, but redefining it in a way that works for men today.
That seems to be his message. He even gets into this thing called hypergamy management, which is about understanding how to adapt to women's biological instincts within a marriage. Like, yeah, financial stability is important, but maintaining an air of mystery and unpredictability can keep the spark alive.
It's like he's saying, know the rules of the game and then play it strategically.
Right. And I know they can sound a little manipulative, but he frames it in a way that's about understanding the natural differences between men and women and using that knowledge to create a dynamic that works for both partners.
It's about being intentional and proactive rather than just reacting to whatever life throws at you.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground from the blue pill delusion to the beta bucks trap and even this digital desert. It's a lot to take in, right?
Definitely a lot to chew on, but I think it's important stuff for men to be thinking about.
What are your initial thoughts so far? What's resonating with you the most?
Well, what strikes me is how he's really urging men to examine their own experiences and question the narratives they've been told. It's about taking control, being aware of the forces at play, and then making conscious choices about how to navigate them.
He's basically saying, don't just accept things as they are, question them, understand them, and then decide how you want to live your life. It's a powerful message, especially for those of us who feel like we've been operating under a different set of rules, you know.
Absolutely. It's about reclaiming agency and defining your own path. It's about understanding like what you're really signing up for when you say, I do.
You're saying there's more to it than just the legal contract.
That's what he's getting at. He calls it the covert contract of marriage.
Okay, so what's that all about?
It's like this unspoken agreement, this set of expectations that maybe weren't fully laid out in the beginning. You know, you might think you're going into a partnership based on traditional values. Maybe the husband focuses on providing the wife on the home and family.
Right, that classic division of labor.
But he's saying that modern society has shifted the goalposts and men are left feeling blindsided, like, wait, this isn't what I signed up for.
I can definitely see how that would lead to a lot of the frustrations we hear about in the red pill community, feeling like you're doing everything right, but still not getting the respect or appreciation you deserve.
Exactly. And the author really goes there. He even suggests that there's been a deliberate effort to undermine traditional masculinity and male authority. He draws parallels to feminist and even Marxist ideologies.
Whoa, that's a pretty big claim. How does he back that up?
Well, he points to things like the way divorce courts often favor mothers, the emphasis on toxic masculinity in the media, and the push for gender quotas in the workplace. He sees these as examples of a systematic attempt to dismantle traditional power structures.
So it's like he's saying these individual issues are actually connected to a much larger ideological shift, like it's not just a coincidence.
Exactly. And he argues that understanding this historical context is key to breaking free from these patterns. He even uses the term woke weaponization, suggesting that these ideologies are being used to manipulate men and control the narrative.
Okay, I'm starting to see where he's coming from. It's like You're constantly being told you're the problem, that masculinity itself is toxic. You're always on the defensive.
Right. And his answer to that is what he calls woke resistance. Being aware of these ideologies, questioning narratives, and actively choosing to embrace a different perspective.
So it's not about being anti-woman or anti-progress, but about reclaiming agency and defining masculinity on your own terms.
Absolutely. It's about recognizing that men have their own unique needs, values, and perspectives, and that those deserve to be acknowledged and respected, just like anyone else.
Right, it's about equality, but not in the way it's often framed today.
Exactly. And this ties back to marriage, right? If you're going to renegotiate that covert contract, you need to be clear on what you want, what your non-negotiables are.
Yeah, like what are you willing to compromise on and what are your deal breakers?
Right. He argues that men need to be more assertive in communicating their needs and expectations within their marriages, rather than just going along with the status quo and hoping for the best.
Like taking ownership of your role in the relationship.
Exactly. And he even provides some pretty specific advice on how to do that. He talks about things like setting boundaries, having open and honest conversations about finances, and even redefining roles and responsibilities within the marriage.
So like having those tough conversations, even if they're uncomfortable.
Sometimes, yeah. But he frames it in a way that's about collaboration, not confrontation. It's about working together to create a dynamic that works for both partners.
Okay, that makes sense. And what about this whole hypergamy thing? How does he suggest men deal with that within a marriage?
That's where this idea of hypergamy management comes in.
Now, what's that all about?
It's basically about understanding the biological and evolutionary factors that influence attraction, and then using that knowledge to create a dynamic in your marriage that keeps the spark alive.
So it's like he's saying, look, men and women are wired differently, and that's okay. But we need to be aware of those differences and how they impact our relationships.
Exactly. And it's not about manipulating your wife or trying to control her.
Right, that's not what we're talking about.
It's more about, I guess you could say, playing to your strengths.
Like what kind of strength?
Well, he talks about things like focusing on developing traits that are naturally attractive to women, such as confidence, strength, and ambition, while also recognizing that women need security and stability.
So it's about finding that balance between being the rock, the provider, but also maintaining that edge, that spark that keeps things interesting.
Exactly. It's a delicate dance.
And he even suggests that sometimes men need to be willing to walk away from relationships that are no longer serving them. He emphasizes the importance of self-respect and knowing your worth.
Tough love, huh?
Yeah, but I think it's an important message. It's easy to get caught up in trying to please everyone, especially in a marriage.
Yeah.
But ultimately, you have to prioritize your own well-being.
Absolutely. And he ties this back to the importance of having strong male friendships, of having a tribe of men who understand what you're going through and can offer support and guidance.
Like that old saying, iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
We need other men in our lives to challenge us, to support us, and to help us become the best versions of ourselves.
Couldn't agree more. And he suggests that these friendships can be a source of strength and resilience, especially when you're navigating the challenges of marriage in a culture that often seems to be working against men.
So it's like having that brotherhood, that support system, can make all the difference.
Exactly. And it can help you stay grounded and focused on what's truly important.
Okay, so it sounds like this book is offering a pretty radical reframing of marriage, one that challenges a lot of the conventional wisdom we've been taught. It's about recognizing the power dynamics, understanding the unspoken agreements, and then actively working to create a relationship that is truly fulfilling for both partners.
That's a great summary. And I think one of the most important takeaways is that men have the power to change their situations. They don't have to be passive victims of societal forces or unfair systems.
It's about taking that red pill, waking up to the reality of how things work, and then making conscious choices about how you want to live your life and navigate your marriage.
Right. And he even challenges the idea that men are inherently privileged in society. He points to things like the higher rates of male suicide, homelessness, and workplace fatalities as evidence that the reality is far more complex.
Yeah, he's not denying that there are problems that women face too, but he's saying that men's issues often get overlooked or dismissed.
Exactly. And this ties back to his claim that certain institutions, even within marriage, are structured in a way that can disadvantage men. He's not just talking about feelings or perceptions, he's pointing to statistics and real-world examples.
Right, he's backing up his claims with data.
And this can be a tough pill to swallow, especially for men who have been taught to believe in fairness and equality.
Yeah, it can be hard to accept that the system might be rigged against you.
But he's arguing that sometimes you have to acknowledge the reality of the situation before you can start to change it.
So it's not about dwelling on the negative, but about using this knowledge to empower yourself and make more informed choices.
Exactly. He's saying, look, here's the game, here are the rules. Now, how are you going to play it?
And he actually is pretty specific about the game, right? Like, he talks about how the modern dating landscape has been impacted by things like dating apps and hookup culture, which can make it even harder for men to find meaningful connections.
That's right. He argues that these platforms often amplify the dynamics of hypergamy, making it even more important for men to understand how to present themselves and navigate this new terrain.
It's like the rules of attraction have changed, and a lot of guys are still playing by the old playbook.
Exactly. And he even uses the term sexual hierarchy, suggesting that there's this ranking system in place and men need to understand where they fall on that hierarchy and how to improve their position.
It sounds a bit harsh, but I think it's important to be realistic. If you're going to be successful in the dating world, you can't pretend these dynamics don't exist.
Agreed. And he doesn't just leave it at that. He actually offers practical advice on how to improve your standing. Things like focusing on your physical fitness, building your career in finances, and developing social skills and confidence.
So it's not just about understanding the theory, it's about taking action and becoming the best version of yourself.
Absolutely. And he ties this back to the importance of self improvement, not just for attracting women, but for your own personal growth and fulfillment.
It's like he's saying the best way to win the game is to become a man who doesn't even need to play it.
I like that. And he even gets into how this self improvement mindset can help men renegotiate their covert contracts within marriage. If you're constantly working on yourself, growing, and becoming more valuable, it shifts the power dynamic.
So it's not about manipulating your wife or trying to control her, but about becoming a man she can't afford to lose.
Exactly. And that comes from within. It's about
Yeah.
building your confidence, your competence, and your sense of self worth.
And he even talks about how this ties into men's mental health. It's like if you're feeling lost, insecure, or unfulfilled, it's going to impact every area of your life, including your marriage.
He argues that traditional notions of masculinity, which often encourage men to suppress their emotions, can actually be detrimental to their well being.
It's like that whole strong, silent type stereotype can actually backfire.
Exactly. He encourages men to be more open about their feelings, to seek help when they need it, and to build strong support systems that can provide them with emotional support and guidance.
So it's not about denying your masculinity, but about embracing a more holistic and healthy version of it.
Right. It's about recognizing that true strength comes from being able to be vulnerable, to connect with others, and to ask for help when you need it.
And this includes being proactive about your physical health as well. He
Exactly.
talks about how men often neglect their physical well-being, leading to preventable health issues later in life.
It's like we're so focused on being the provider, the protector, that we forget to take care of ourselves.
And he emphasizes the importance of regular exercise, a healthy diet, getting enough sleep, all the basics.
Yeah, the stuff we all know we should be doing, but sometimes let slide.
And it all ties back to marriage, right? If you're not taking care of yourself, how can you be the best husband and father you can be?
Exactly. It's about recognizing that your health and well-being aren't just about you, they impact your whole family.
Okay, so we've talked about renegotiating the covert contract, understanding hypergamy, embracing a healthier version of masculinity. It's a lot to unpack. But I think one of the most powerful messages in this book is about men taking control of their lives.
It's about rejecting the victim mentality and recognizing that you have the power to create the life you want, even within the constraints of marriage and a society that doesn't always seem to have your best interests at heart.
He's basically saying, stop blaming others, stop making excuses, take responsibility for your own happiness and success.
And that's a message that resonates deeply with the red pill philosophy. It's about understanding the game, learning the rules, and then playing it strategically to achieve your goals.
And he doesn't just stop there. He actually lays out a roadmap for how to do this. He talks about the importance of setting goals, developing a plan, and taking consistent action.
He even gets into the mindset piece, talking about the importance of developing resilience, overcoming fear and self-doubt, and cultivating a positive and proactive attitude.
He's basically saying, don't just wish for a better life, create it.
Exactly. And he argues that this journey of self-improvement is never ending. It's about constantly striving to be better, to learn more, and to grow as a man.
Okay, so before we get into the specifics of his roadmap, I want to pause for a moment and address something that I know is on a lot of guys' minds. We've been talking about marriage, about societal pressures, about all these complex dynamics. But what about the guys who are still single? What about the challenges of dating in the modern world?
That's a great point. And the book definitely doesn't shy away from addressing that. In fact, he dedicates a whole section to the modern dating landscape and the unique challenges men face.
And he doesn't sugarcoat it, does he? He's pretty blunt about how tough it can be out there.
He talks about how the rise of dating apps and hookup culture has created a highly competitive environment where men are often judged solely on their looks and their online persona.
It's like you're constantly being swiped left or right based on a few photos in a bio, which can be pretty demoralizing.
And he argues that this superficiality can make it even harder to form genuine connections, leading to a lot of frustration and disappointment.
He even uses the term attention economy, arguing that women are bombarded with so many options online that it's easy for men to get lost in the noise.
So it's not enough to just be a decent guy anymore. You have to stand out, you have to be interesting, and you have to be able to capture and hold a woman's attention.
It sounds exhausting.
It can be. And he doesn't shy away from the darker side of this, talking about how the anonymity of online dating can lead to ghosting, breadcrumbing, and other forms of rejection that can be particularly hurtful.
It's like the stakes are higher because you're putting yourself out there for the whole world to see, and the potential for rejection feels much greater.
Right. And he argues that this can take a toll on men's self-esteem, leading some to withdraw from dating altogether.
He even uses the term avoidant attachment style, suggesting that some men develop a fear of intimacy and commitment as a result of these negative experiences.
But he doesn't just leave it there. He actually offers a lot of practical advice on how to navigate this new landscape successfully.
So it's not all doom and gloom. There's hope for the single guys out there.
Absolutely. He talks about the importance of developing strong social skills, building confidence, and cultivating a sense of self-worth that isn't dependent on external validation.
It's about recognizing that your value as a man doesn't come from how many matches you get on a dating app or how many women you sleep with. It comes from within.
Exactly. And he even gets into specific strategies for online dating, like crafting a compelling profile, initiating conversations that stand out, and being confident and assertive in your interactions.
So it's about being proactive and putting yourself out there, but also being smart about it.
Right. It's about knowing how to play the game, but also knowing when to walk away from a game that's not worth playing.
He even talks about the importance of being selective, of not chasing every woman who shows even a flicker of interest, but instead focusing on finding someone who is truly compatible with your values and goals.
He's basically saying, know your worth and don't settle for less than you deserve.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about the challenges of marriage, the decline of male friendships, the complexities of the modern dating world. It's a lot to process.
It is. But I think one of the most important takeaways from this book is that men are not alone in their struggles. There's a growing awareness of these issues, and there are solutions available.
It's like the author is shining a light on things that have been hidden in the shadows for too long, things that men have been hesitant to talk about.
And by bringing these issues to the forefront, he's creating a space for men to connect, to support each other, and to work together to create a better future.
And that's what this community is all about, right?
Yeah.
We're here to share our experiences, to learn from each other, and to support each other on this journey.
Absolutely. And I think this book provides a valuable roadmap for that journey.
Okay, so before we wrap up this deep dive, let's take a step back and consider the bigger picture.
Yeah.
What are some of the key takeaways we've gleaned from this book?
Well, I think one of the most important takeaways is that men need to be aware of the forces that are at play in the modern world, both societal and evolutionary. It's not enough to just be a good guy or to follow the traditional script. You have to understand the game and play it strategically.
And that includes being aware of the covert contracts that might exist within your marriage, understanding the dynamics of hypergamy, and recognizing the impact of ideologies that may be working against you.
Right. And it also means taking responsibility for your own happiness and success. It's about setting goals, working hard, and constantly striving to improve yourself.
It's about becoming the best version of yourself, not for someone else, but for you.
And I think it's also about building a strong support system of men who understand what you're going through and can offer guidance and encouragement.
It's about finding your tribe and knowing that you're not alone in this journey.
Absolutely. And I think the author is offering a message of hope. He's saying that even though the world can feel hostile to men at times, we have the power to change our situation.
We have the power to redefine masculinity on our own terms, to create fulfilling relationships, and to live lives of purpose and meaning.
And that's a powerful message, especially for men who might be feeling lost, frustrated, or disillusioned.
Okay, so before we wrap up this episode, I want to touch on one more important point. We've been talking a lot about the challenges men face, but I think it's also important to acknowledge the positive aspects of masculinity.
That's a great point. There's a tendency to focus on the negative, but there's so much to celebrate about being a man.
Like what? What are some of the things you appreciate about masculinity?
Well, for me, it's about strength, resilience, and the ability to protect and provide for those we care about. It's about being a leader, a problem solver, and a source of stability and support.
I agree. There's a certain sense of honor and integrity that I associate with masculinity, a willingness to do what's right even when it's hard.
And there's also a sense of adventure, a desire to explore, to create, and to push the boundaries of what's possible.
I think it's important to remember that masculinity is not inherently toxic or negative. It's a powerful force that can be used for good.
And I think this book is challenging us to reclaim that power, to redefine masculinity in a way that is both positive and empowering.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground in this episode. We've talked about the challenges, the solutions, and the positive aspects of masculinity. But I think the most important takeaway is that men have a choice.
We can choose to be passive victims of circumstance, or we can choose to take control of our lives and create the future we want.
It's about understanding the game, playing it strategically, and never giving up on ourselves or our dreams.
And I think this book is an invaluable resource for any man who is on that journey.
So if you're feeling lost, frustrated, or just curious to learn more about this perspective, I highly recommend checking out this book.
It's a real eye-opener, and it could change the way you view yourself, your relationships, and the world around you.
And where can our listeners find this book?
It's available on Amazon Kindle and Google Play Books.
Excellent. We'll be sure to include links in the show notes.
Yeah.
And just a reminder, this deep dive was just a taste of what this book has to offer. There's a lot more to unpack, so if you're intrigued by these ideas, definitely check it out.
I think it's a must-read for any man who is serious about self-improvement, understanding the modern world, and creating a more fulfilling life.
Great. Well, thanks for joining me on this deep dive. It's been a fascinating conversation.
It's been a pleasure. I always enjoy exploring these topics with you.
And to all the guys out there listening, keep your heads up, stay strong, and never stop fighting for what you believe in.
You're not alone, and there's a whole community of men out there who are rooting for you.
Until next time, take care. And it's not just about theory, right? He gives you practical steps.
Yeah, he lays out a whole roadmap, like a step-by-step plan.
It's like he's handing us this toolkit, not just for getting by, but for actually winning. You know, in a world that often feels like it's rigged against us.
Totally. That's what makes this book stand out. It's not just about complaining, it's about giving men the power to change things.
So it's not just red pill analysis, it's a red pill game plan.
Exactly. He gives you the knowledge and the tools to handle marriage, relationships, even your career.
It's practical, right? It's not just vague concepts.
He gets into the nitty-gritty, finances, fitness, even how you present yourself. He gets that it all matters.
It's like he's saying, take care of your whole self, man. It's a total package.
And that's why I think it resonates. It's not just about one problem, it's about taking control of your whole life.
So for guys listening who are fired up, what's the first thing they should do?
Just start paying attention, man. Notice the stuff we've been talking about.
Like see it in your own life.
Yeah, the covert contracts, how hypergamy shows up, even the messages the media is pushing.
Wake up, right? Realize it's happening all around you.
Once you see it, then you can start making different choices.
So take the red pill and then use that to build something better.
Boom! You become the hero of your own story. That's the whole point.
And if guys want the full blueprint, they got to check out the book.
Seriously, it's on Kindle, Google Play. It's worth the investment.
For sure. We'll link it in the show notes. This deep dive was just a taste.
There's so much more to uncover. It's mind-blowing stuff.
All right. Thanks for joining me for this one. It's been great.
Always a pleasure, man.
And to everyone listening, stay strong. Keep fighting the good fight.
You got this. We're all in this together.
Until next time, take care.